in last week's show that we found an interesting talking point was our bandwidth of perception, the vibration, our color spectrum. There's only a certain amount that we can perceive. For example, cats with diamond eyes can see things off of the spectrum that we can't see. And no, I also brought relevance to the Philadelphia experiment, where effectively the USS Eldridge was moved out of phase, moved beyond our visible spectrum, or actually had a teleportation experience or some type of space-time continuum warp, and that was back in 1944, and is all documented. How important an element do you think that potentially could be with the UFO phenomenon? And also such things as crop circles.
What very clever questions you ask. That's a very good question. Oh, God. Well, right, okay. In real life, the problems you have in real life when you're having real life contact with UFOs, and that's not to say, I don't mean that from a piousness position, I mean it from, to me, what's happened to me, and is seldom reported in the big wide world when it comes to UFO contact, is the fact that if you have contact with intelligence that is possibly dimensional, you'll cross a boundary. Now, that boundary will probably include kind of like an astral world. It'll probably include a dimension of time and space, and then you'll step into their world. And then you'll step back across again into your world, having crossed the dimension of time and space, which is in a continuum. It's in a continuum in that time is collapsed, and there's an environment where everybody sees everyone, regardless of what time they're in, and that's what causes, for some contactees, major problems. It's called the continuum. It's based on my research, it's based on what I've been told. It is correct that there is a continuum environment. There is a space-time continuum. And the other issue regarding UFO contact is humans in parallel universes, which appear to be happening as well. So the contactee in real life, whether it be me or anybody else, has a shed load of stuff to deal with before they've even contacted the aliens. And more importantly, let me briefly continue on that point.
Sure.
More importantly, it's the unethical behavior of those in the UFOs that have exposed the human being to that environment where they should know better. And that's where the blazing row erupts, because they should know better, and they do know better, but it's a lousy, stinking business.
Yeah. So before you actually, you have to get your head or your consciousness, your understanding around any tangible experience or just the shock of an unexplainable experience, that breaking of the time binding dialectic. I know that happens to some people when they have accidents. Sometimes everything seems to move into slow motion.
How did you know that? How did you know that? Not many people do. Not many interviewers over the years. Not one interviewer has even gone down that route with me, and said it with a bit of knowledge as well. How did you come? I'm interviewing you now. How did you come across that?
Oh, you should check out Fab's pile of UFO magazine over the years. It dominates his room, mate.
Who was it again? Sorry, who? Sorry.
This is Jimmy here.
Yeah, who was it, Jimmy?
Oh, I was talking about Fabrice, who's talking now. He's got a huge stack of the UFO magazine. And
right. So you built a picture. Yeah.
Of
course. It is space-time continuum related. The process of UFO contact is indeed. Yes, it is. People talk about it,
I was going to say, because in the same way that when people do meditative art such as yoga or martial arts or meditation, they can program some of those things that will happen in a flash. So when they get attacked, all of a sudden they remember their martial arts moves. And with that sort of time binding that we have as well, a number of people experience lost time or missing time or time. Gary spoke about Travis Walton, who disappeared for 5 days.
Yeah, indeed.
And it didn't feel that way to him. So, do you think that time binding aspect to it, and for that to break down, is enough of a shock for somebody to experience, let alone anything?
Yeah, it is, matey. It is, and the fact that you're possibly operating in two parallel universes. Due to what's happened to you, the fact that because you're in a space, that you're in a time continuum where the boundaries of time have collapsed, you have what I term an up signal line problem, I call it, whereby you've got somebody else further up the timeline can see you and hear you because you stepped into the continuum, and they were looking at you in the continuum. You saw them, they saw you, and then the UFOs come into the continuum and they see the UFOs. And in fact, you've got all the ingredients there of a very advanced form of disclosure occurring further down a timeline. And it's very, very complex and very advanced, but you have got that scenario occurring.
So where people can have non-local experiences or non-local insight, or dare we say that deja vu experience, where
you're right. And because you're a conscious entity moving through a space-time environment, there is a distinct possibility. A lot of spiritual books talk about the past life, but there is a distinct possibility you'll have the scenario of your future life coming on. Gosh, you're in another world, and you're reincarnated again.
And